It was just past midnight when Emily boarded the last train home. The carriage was nearly empty, only a handful of passengers scattered between the flickering lights and cold metal seats. She chose a spot near the back, headphones in, music low, eyes fixed on her reflection in the darkened window. The world outside moved like a ghost, barely visible. Then he sat across from her. A man in a grey coat, wearing no expression, calm, almost studied. Emily glanced up briefly, then back to her phone. But something about him made her uneasy. Not fear exactly, more like a sense that he didn't belong there, like a character from a dream she'd almost remembered. Minutes passed in silence, broken only by the hum of the train. Then the man spoke. "You were 7 when it happened, right?" Emily's blood ran cold. She slowly removed her headphones. "Sorry?" she asked, her voice barely steady. He tilted his head slightly. "The lake, that summer, the fireflies, and your sister, Lily." Emily's heart pounded. Nobody knew that name. Not anymore. Lily had died that summer, an accident no one ever talked about. Not her family, not even Emily, not for nearly 20 years. "Who are you?" she whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he looked out the window and said softly, "She never blamed you, you know. It wasn't your fault." Emily's throat tightened. That phrase, word for word, it was what she had screamed in her sleep for years after the accident, what her mother used to whisper to her in the dark. "How do you know this?" she asked again, panic rising. "I only know what she told me," he said. "She wanted you to forgive yourself." Emily's hands trembled. "Lily's dead." The man smiled faintly. "Some voices echo across places. Not even death can mute." Before she could say another word, the train screeched to a halt at an unannounced stop. When she blinked, the man was gone. No sign he'd ever been there. No footprints on the dusty floor, no reflection on the window, only the empty seat, and a single, pressed firefly resting beside her hand. Emily didn't sleep that night. She sat on the floor of her small apartment, looking at the dried firefly, still glowing softly in her palm. It didn't make sense. No one on the train had seen the man. No one remembered stopping before hers. The CCTV showed her riding alone. Alone. Yet every word he said stuck to her like the smoke from old memories she'd buried deep. Memories of that summer, of Lily, of a truth she'd never dared to face. By morning, something inside her had changed. The fear was still there, but now it had a different feel. Purpose. She called in sick, pulled out an old box from the back of her closet, the one marked "Do Not Open." Inside were faded photos, a charm bracelet, and one small crumpled letter. The last Lily had written before the accident. Most of the words had faded, but 3 sentences were clear. "Don't cry if I go too far into the water. I just want to find where the fireflies sleep. If I don't come back, maybe you'll find me someday." Emily cried, letting the guilt flow out like rain. She had always blamed herself for not stopping her sister, for not noticing sooner, for freezing instead of diving in after her. But now it felt like Lily had somehow reached through time to remind her. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting. It was remembering with compassion. That evening, she returned to the lake. The same dock still stood, old and creaky, under a sky painted with twilight. She sat there in silence, breathing, eyes closed. And then, again, she heard it. A voice, soft as the wind. "You came." Emily turned. The man was there. Same coat, same unreadable face. But this time, his presence was warmer, gentler. "I don't understand," she said, tears rising again. "Who are you?" He hesitated for the first time, then stepped closer, kneeling beside her. "I'm what's left when someone who loves you can't move on either," he said, a promise kept across the barrier. He opened his hand, revealing the same silver charm Lily used to wear. Emily gasped. "How?" "She wanted you to have it," he said, gently placing it in her palm. "She forgave you long ago, but she knew you wouldn't move forward until you forgave yourself." The water glowed faintly beneath the dock. Fireflies blinked to life around them, more than Emily had ever seen. "Is this real?" she whispered. "It doesn't matter," the man said. "What matters is what you do next." And with that, he stood and slowly faded into the golden dusk, gone. But the weight on her chest lifted. That night, Emily slept with Lily's charm clutched to her chest, and for the first time in years, her dreams were quiet. No screams, no dark water, just laughter and fireflies.